Hello, Papa Liliak here. Um, I am on a Miami airport. I had to do a business or personal business inquiry. But the reason I'm doing this podcast is, you know, there's trouble in paradise. Meaning, I'll be honest with everybody about. I can't remember the exact year when I became a rock or true metal fan. To say at least metalhead. But watching exactly the metal scene, my family, Liliac, has become a phenomenal, phenomenal, one of the best metal bands, young metal bands, up and coming, that you see in these times. But like Gene Simmons said, rock and roll is dead, and I agree with him. I agree with him 100% because when they interviewed him and asked him, "What do you mean by rock and roll being dead? Who caused rock and roll to be dead?" And he said, "It's not the bands. It's not even the record labels who caused rock and roll. The death of rock and roll metal are the rock and roll and metal fans." And you'd be like, you might ask, what is Papa Liliak trying to say here? Well, that's what Gene Simmons said, and he was absolutely perfectly correct. Because if you go back in time, a lot of these metal fans are, a lot of them, probably like 60%, not even 50%, 60% are gatekeepers. And a metal band puts out a new album and like, oh, I'm not gonna buy it. They sold out. They should have stick to what they did before. Same thing happened with Metallica when they put 4 albums out, and then when they put the Black Album out, a lot of people are like, oh, they sold out because the latest album didn't sound garagey like it used to do. And I said it before. James Hetfield said it in an interview that one of the fans spit in his face, calling him a sellout because he did a ballad like Nothing Else Matter or Unforgiven when they put out the Black Album, which the Black Album turned me into metal. If it wasn't for the Black Album, I wouldn't be here right now talking about metal. With that said, to go back to the band Liliac, that I had an amazing privilege, and I'm super, super excited. If I would turn back the time, I would do the same thing that I did, take him on the Santa Monica Pier, introduce him to metal and rock and roll, because those years were not wasted. Liliac is going to put their 4th album out, which is going to be probably the best album we've ever done. Holy Odyssey, it's an over 7-minute song. They have another song that is going to be over 6 minutes in the genre of Holy Odyssey. It's an epic masterpiece, both songs. Plus they have other songs that they've written. So I love it, and I would never, like I said, even if this ends tomorrow or today, I will never regret everything we've done. It's just sad that a few things been happening lately. I remember when I started Liliac and they started blowing up, a lot of people like, Papa Liliac, aren't you concerned that a lot of Lilacs fans are older people. And I said, no, no. I mean, what's wrong with that? A fan is a fan. But a lot of our big, big, strong fans, since I've been around for the last 6 years with Liliac, blowing up on the metal scene, and now we're going on the 7th year. A lot of these fans passed away because of their age, health issues. Strong Patreons, fans passed away. Now, I gotta give it to all the true Liliac fans, Patreons. I'm not talking about you guys right now. What I'm talking about this so-called fans of Liliac or fans of metal music, but they're on the fence. And if somehow Liliac cut their hair or change their wardrobe, boom, they're done with Liliac. That's what I'm talking about right now. These gatekeepers. So we did lost a lot of fans to death, I guess. So what I'm trying to say here is that it's so sad that the decrease, and we've been trying very, very hard to keep up with, Patreons are decreasing. I hear Patreons saying like, I'm sorry, I can't be a Patreon anymore to support Liliac, which is an independent band. I said it before. A lot of your fans say, stay independent, don't sell out to the record labels. We did what you majority said, but then we're losing even those real fans. And we cannot do it anymore, staying independent. You see what I'm saying? Because in order for Liliac to keep going, there's still got to be a support. Without the support, you cannot do it, period. And if you guys are not up to support Liliac, it's going to end. You see what I'm saying? And with that said, losing a lot of true fans. Some, like I jumped from the subject, but like I was gonna say, I hear of Patreons because of health issues. They gotta cancel their being a Patreon because like for example, I'll give you an example. Patreon said, I became deaf and I can't hear anymore. I got fired. He can't, he lost his job and he cannot support Liliac. And I get it. But where are those ones that claim to be fans and they're gone? You see what I'm saying? Okay. So this is gonna be. You have a band that sticks to their roots in the sense of like keeping rock and roll metal alive, like classic metal, like Liliac and other bands, but you're complaining. One little thing you're complaining, you're gatekeeping, and it's not to gatekeep because they cut their hair or they change their wardrobe. Look, kids, how about you show me photos of your timeline when you were 10 years old, 15 years old, 20, 25, 30, until now. And I want to see how your hair length was in those photos and how much the wardrobe has changed. Culture changes. Who cares about hair? Who cares about wardrobe? That's not important in metal music. That's like the least important. It's about the good music, the connection, keeping it alive. And that's why metal, rock and roll is suffering like crazy. And right now, pop music is leading the charts. Hip hop is leading the charts. Because of these gatekeepers for metal and rock and roll has ruined it, has killed it. And record labels when they see that they have a metal band, they put out the album, and the gatekeepers are like, oh, this is not like it used to be, and blah blah blah. We're not buying the record. We're not buying. Record label sees that the albums are not selling. They're like, man, that's a problem. We invested money in this band. They're not selling. But then there's this rapper or this pop singer. Like, look at Taylor Swift, how much success she has. They put out an album and they're selling like crazy because their fans are not gatekeepers. They're like, and they're singing with auto tune. They're cussing left and right, but kids are buying it. Record labels, they think like, well, it seems like rap is selling, pop is selling, metal and rock is not selling because their people are protesting that they don't want to buy the records because the metal band has sold out. They're not doing the old school stuff or whatever. So because of that, metal rock is losing. Is losing. Metal is losing. It's becoming underground. Rock is dying. I mean, death metal, black metal, speed metal, it seems like it has a good following. The growling stuff that kids like. A lot of the kids don't like the classic stuff no more. And instead of the metal fans being united, and if any band does some classic metal, they should support unconditionally. You don't, these bands are going to bankrupt, in other words. They're going to give up. They'll be like, man, there's no more support. There's no more this from the fans because they are gatekeepers. Like, what's the point of doing that? Because it seems like, like I said it before, without any fans, without a big following, you can't do it. You know what I mean? I mean, you can do music, but you keep it in your computer and you put it out and nobody gives a shit. Period. Excuse my language. I've been through that when I used to do music and nothing happened. Now, Luliak has a strong fan base, but that strong fan base, like I said, is decreasing because that fan base is people like me and you that are this age. And sometimes with the nasty comments from these gatekeepers, like even fans of Luliak that fell in love with the Chain of Thorns album, when Luliak put Queen of Hearts album, they're like, oh, this is not like the Chain of Thorns. This is not good anymore. I'm leaving. I'm done. You don't even give Luliak a chance to grow in their music. You see what I'm saying? Younger people see all this and all this commotion and they're like, I don't want to be part of that community. They always complain. They always gatekeep. Young kids want to be a free-spirited people because they want to have a great life, enjoy liberty, freedom. So classic metal rock is losing only because young kids are not getting on board. It's so sad after almost 7 years of Luliak for me to realize when that question was asked by fans, aren't you worried that Luliak doesn't have a strong young fan base? Now I'm seeing that even though back then I thought it shouldn't be any problem as long as we have fans, doesn't matter the age. Age is just a number. Age is not just a number. I think young fans growing up with a band could give that band a long career. That's the reality. So it's a big issue. It's alarming. It's sad. I'm very heartbroken. Is there anything we can do about it? I don't know. I mean, I've been doing so many live streams encouraging people, support Luliak, become a Patreon. And people like, my son, Papa Luliak. But they never join Luliak's Patreons because $4.99 $5 was too much to support as a fan. Okay, you don't want to support, that's your problem. It will be sad in 10 years from now when things will end and be like, man, why couldn't I just be part of that, supporting that band to have success? I'm just letting you know. I'm being honest and raw. I look in the future, the way things are going is not good. And it's so sad, especially now that, like Liliac became a phenomenal, mature band. They could write phenomenal songs. I mean, it's gonna be probably the best album we ever done, and I can't wait to release it. And if it's the last album, I'll be the most proudest producer, most proudest manager and father, because this album is going to ring in the future, especially with the songs and the ideas we put together. You want more of this? You need to get on board. You need to become a Patreon. You need to start buying merch, support a band. I said it before, a lot of people called us beggars, gypsies. But again, even a record label, they put money into a band to a point, but if the fans don't support the band, the label's is gonna say, hey, look, we put an album out, nobody's buying it, not buying the merch, they're gonna drop the band. Same thing being independent. You're not supporting the band financially, emotionally, sharing the music and talk about them, and this, any band will die out, period. It's without fans, you're done. I mean, that's the reality. I've seen this through my 20-year music career. Artists and bands that came to the scene, they were loved to death, appreciated, and then in time, nobody heard of them anymore. And you may wonder, well, what happened with that band? I mean, well, the fans were not in it for the long time. And we see that the only ones that have the most success are the bands from the past. The bands from the past. Like Metallica and so many other bands. Those people, like for example, people still buy tickets even if it costs a lot of money, but to see those bands, but they won't buy tickets which are cheap to see a independent, up and coming young band. And that's the problem. That's the problem. That's a big problem. I wish everybody well. And I hope this will make you understand what I'm trying to say here. Happy New Year. Rock on and rock hard.